Good afternoon and welcome to Scrapbooking with a Twist. Gonna do another layout from Turkey tonight. I'm gonna do the one where we took our Turkish baths and then did this swam in this mineral pool. We've done baths in various countries, like we did one in Morocco. It was very interesting. And we did these Turkish baths, and I'll tell you the story about this because it's really kind of funny. But I've kind of planned this, and so I'm just going to sort of start on it. I've kind of got it in stages because I don't have a drawing or anything of it, so I laid it out and kind of set it off in stages, and I'm going to try to stick to kind of what I did. But this Turkish bath, we were at a really nice hotel, and it had the baths, and so we were gonna do one. We just didn't know where we were gonna do it. So anyway, we decided. I don't remember for sure what city we were in, but we decided that we would do these Turkish baths, and so we find out what you're supposed to do, and so they have these robes in your hotel room, and you just wear that robe down there because you have to get completely naked for these Turkish baths. And so we get our robes on and we go down, and they take us into this excuse me, this big room. And if I can get any glue out ever, I'll show you this thing. Now, this is me and my best friend, and I didn't plan this very well, and I'm gonna have to, let's see if I can find something here. Have this packed to go to a crop this weekend, but I think I'm gonna need it for right now. So anyway, they take us into this kind of big room where this has this, out in the middle of it, has this huge, perfectly round marble slab. And if I can ever get enough glue on the back of this, I'm gonna show it to you. So here is the picture of that marble slab. Let me get it on here. Yeah, there we go. So anyway, this is a huge marble slab. I mean, you could have had like 4 people that wouldn't have touched each other laying around that. And then over here you can see, like, this is all marble, and there's a little bench, and then there's water faucets and all that kind of stuff. And those went all the way around this room. So it's me and my best friend. We go in, we lay on this marble slab, and we each, of course, have like this person that is going to do our Turkish bath. And, excuse me, and so they start running the water over us and doing all this kind of stuff. And you have a towel for the most part. They put warm water on this towel and put it over you, and then they kind of start like a massage. I mean, they do basically a massage. And then at one point they do this, they soak your towel in this stuff, and then they just strip that towel like that, and it like makes this just pile of bubbles like you've never seen before. It's just crazy. This just huge pile of bubbles, and they pile that up on you, and then they're still massaging your neck and your back, but you've just got this mound of bubbles on you that's covering you. Like, all that's out is your head and your feet of these bubbles. I cannot get any of my glues to want to come out. And so we're laying there and we're getting our massage, and like, I'm on this side and she's way over here on this side, but we can, and you don't even really want to talk because it's so relaxing. You just want to lay there, and you don't really want anything to, and the people doing your massages aren't like the the Vietnamese that you go to here that are jabbering all the time, or like when we got our massages in Thailand. But it was real quiet and everything. And you're laying there with your eyes closed, and all of a sudden we started hearing these men's voices. We're like, what in the world is going on? Because we hear these men's voices. And so I finally got the courage to open my eyes and peek out. And a male attendant had brought a man in and had him sitting over here and was hosing him off, you know, spraying him off and washing him off and everything. And I'm like, oh my gosh, there's a man in here. Of course, we were stark naked, but at that point we did have our bubbles all over us. But it was like, oh my gosh, don't rinse the bubbles off of me, please. Not now. And it seemed like he stayed in there forever, but it was hilarious. We're like, what is that? I hear a man. I'm like, I hear a man too. I finally looked because he was over, I was on this side and he was right over there. I could see him really good. And of course, he was naked too. Naked as a jaybird. But anyway, that's the way it is. And it doesn't pay to be bashful in these other countries when you're going to do those things. I'm just telling you. It does not pay because that's just the way they do it. And, you know, when in Rome, you know, do as the Romans, or in Turkey or wherever you are. All right, I'm just gonna, like I said, I kind of laid this out and it's kind of tight, all of it fitting. So I hope I get it all on here the way I want it. So there's our marble Turkish bath. But that was so funny. Not quite as funny as our Moroccan baths, I'll have to admit. But I don't know that I'll ever scrapbook the Morocco, so I may as well just tell you about it. So when we're in Morocco, we were with a group, and so we all decided we'd go get these Moroccan baths. And so we go to this bathhouse, and the men go one direction and the women go the other direction. And we go in there, and so they tell us to take our clothes off. And we're like, well, because, I mean, there's people just everywhere in there. Women and girl, I mean, you know, all ages. And they're all naked, just naked as they can be. And there's kind of like little rooms, but the doorways were pretty big, so you could kind of see into all these other rooms. And we're like, well, can we like leave our underwear on? You know, we're Americans. Can we leave our underwear on? And so they said, yes, you can leave your underwear on. You'll be the only ones in there that have underwear on, but yes, you can leave them. So there were probably, I don't know, 4 or 5, maybe 6 of us from our group that went. And there were probably 10 or 15 different women in this room where we were in. And then, like I said, the rooms, adjoining rooms, you could see in them too. And so here we are. All the Turkish women are in there, no matter what age, what size, whatever. They were all naked. Here are these 5 or 6 American women, and we all have, you know, our underwear on. So it was very evident, you know, that we were not, we weren't one of them. And my little friend that just passed away, she was one of the ones with us, and she would get so tickled. She would get so tickled. And I mean, and they're scrubbing you. You have someone that's like just dedicated to you, and they are literally scrubbing you. I mean, with this, like exfoliating you with this stuff, and then with these things that they scrub you with and everything. I mean, it was wonderful, but it was definitely different. But anyway, we've had some very interesting baths, but it was kind of funny because we were the only ones in there, literally the only ones in there with clothes on. Well, we didn't have clothes on. We just had our bra and panties on, but it was pretty funny. I think I'll put that on foam. You know, I'm trying not to get my things real thick, but there's sometimes you just have to have some stuff on foam. And I'm using this as my title, and it was just the name of our Turkish bath. So I'm the historical Esmoglu Turkish bath. 15th century. So parts of this literally were from the 15th century. But we've had some fun experiences and funny experiences. Of course, those Moroccan women, you know, we didn't understand a word they were saying, but they would look at us and just laugh. We would just laugh with them. It's like, yeah, you can be the one that laughed, but we've got some clothes on. And I'm really not like super hyper modest, but I didn't want to just be naked in there. I mean, I could have been. It wouldn't have bothered me. And now we did, when we were in Thailand, we did, the last night we were there, like we had to leave for the airport like at, I think, 2 a.m. or something like that, because our flight left like at 5 a.m. And so we decided that we wouldn't even go to bed that night, that we would just, that we'd use that night and just stay out and then just be ready to go to the airport. And so we got full body massages that night. And we did, like, both of us together. We didn't want, and still it's the same best friend. We didn't want to do alone. And so we go in, and so our tables where we're getting these massages are like side by side. And both of us have had mastectomies. My friend had hers like 12 years before I did, but we've both had mastectomies. And even though we had reconstruction surgery and all that kind of stuff, it's still, I mean, you know that there's been something take place there. And and we tried to communicate to these little gals, you know, what had happened, but I don't think they understood at all. And there were, you could just tell that they were talking about, you know, both of us, with like, what in the world do you think's going on with them? They've both got these scars on their breast, you know. But anyway, some fun times. And you have to tell them, believe you me, in Thailand, you have to tell them that you want a gentle massage because they'll hurt you. If you've ever had a deep muscle massage, well, you've never had one like you can get in Thailand. I'm telling you, they can just tear you apart giving you a massage. So we would always tell them, very gentle, soft, soft, soft. And we got foot massage. That's the only full body massage we got. But foot massages were $6. And then $1 tip was a big tip. So a 30-minute foot massage basically was $7. And we got more than one a day on some days if we had time, because they were so amazingly wonderful and so inexpensive in comparison to here. They were wonderful. All right. I just thought this paper, it was one of the papers that I had in the kit that I made up for this, but I just thought it really was neat for like this marble, and you can't see like the trim anywhere, but it just really reminded me of that. Now this is the hotel. Well, that's not the hotel. This is the outside of this pool. At the hotel where we stayed in Pamukale, remember that the white looked like snow that we were walking on? That was Pamukale. And that was, this was the hotel where we stayed there. And they had this, it looks, literally, it just looks like muddy water. And it was a mineral, and it was kind of, it wasn't cold. Now, it wasn't hot, like, you know, hot springs or anything, but it was warm, and it was minerals, and it was pretty neat. It wasn't really mud. We called it our mud bath, but it wasn't really mud. I'll trim these things off over here. While I'm getting this little part down, I'm going to go ahead and do the twist. The twist tonight, with everything that's going on in the world right now, I wanted to choose something that told us how to have peace. You know, the Middle East is blowing up, and Israel and Iran are at war, and we've got protests going on, big time protests going on in LA. We have some in Dallas, but they seem to be the Dallas police are really on top of it. And New York is having huge protests, and I don't really understand it, because I'm one of those people that I don't understand why we allow illegal aliens to come in and cost us money and everything. But I understand that different people have different opinions, and they have reasons for their opinion, just like I have reasons for mine. And so I respect difference in opinion, but I don't respect acting out on that and causing damage to people's property that have no control over what you're protesting. I don't. If you're going to protest, it definitely needs to be peaceful. Express what you're feeling, but it needs to be peaceful. And many of these are not what I consider peaceful anyway. And so the twist tonight comes from Ephesians 4:3. And it says, make every effort to keep yourselves united in the Spirit, binding yourselves together with peace. To me, this is just telling us how to have, not only to be at peace with ourselves, not only to be at peace with our brothers and sisters in Christ, but it's telling us how to be at peace in society. That if we bind ourselves together in the Spirit, we'll be at peace. And I think we need peace right now in our society. So badly we need peace. And I just, I don't understand the violence and the doing things to people who have nothing whatsoever to do with what you're protesting. It just doesn't make sense to me. Why I can't justify breaking out store windows and looting stores because you disagree with a government policy. Sit down and talk and voice your opinion, but don't hurt innocent people in their property. And so to me, this verse is saying the way to peace, the way to have true peace, is to bind ourselves together in the Spirit, to be united in God's Spirit, and act and react according to what He would want us to. These flowers that I'm using are a Tim Holtz die set that I've had forever. And I thought they went well with kind of the idea of this paper. And so I just made a bunch of them to use. Just kind of to randomly almost put around on this page. It's not like there are 3 clusters, in a diagonal on this. It's just stuff here and there, kind of tucked where there's room. This area of Pamukale, where this hotel and this mineral pool was real. It was one of my favorite places in Turkey. Of course, all of them were kind of my favorite places, but this was one of my very favorite places. I hope you've enjoyed kind of making this trip with me. I don't always scrap my trips because I scrap my boys. I scrap my grandsons because when I'm gone, that's what they're going to want to keep. They aren't going to care about my trips. And so I do some of like a few of my trips, and I've done some big ones like China. China is too big of the 12 by 12 ring binders. And our transatlantic cruise, I've done some pretty big time. But since I've been doing my grandsons, I don't like scrap my complete trips like I used to. I usually just kind of do a page for each place we went or an activity that we did. Okay, I've got one more flower. I guess I could put it right down there. What about right up here? Maybe kind of pull that. Yes, I like that better. But anyway, I hope you've kind of enjoyed this trip to Turkey with me. I've got a few more layouts. I was doing it in the whole kit and caboodle, and I just didn't get finished. I think I got all 6 of the actual layouts done that we were supposed to do. Then we were supposed to use the rest of our kit and make base pages and then do layouts with them. And I didn't get that part done. And I'm sorry that I didn't, but I just didn't have time to do that. Well, I can't get the lid on my glue. I just didn't have time to do that. So I did what I could, and that's all you can do. So don't beat yourself up if you want to do things and you can't do every bit of it, but just enjoy what you can do. All right, I'm going to trim that off. I love it when they put the price tags and things on the paper itself. You can tell someone who doesn't scrapbook does that. Okay, so I think that's the layout of our Turkish bath and of our mineral pool that we swam in, our mud bath. And thanks for joining me. If you enjoyed this, please give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed, I would love for you to subscribe. I keep telling you we're going to do my 1,000 subscriber hop, and I think we're going to do it in July. I really think I'm going to go ahead and do it in July. So I'm going to start making plans for that. Thanks for joining me. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this, and just have a blessed day and be a blessing to someone else.